so close that we're barely going to be getting any value on the plus side of things. I think there's a little bit of value on the Blue Jays today, but it's an awesome division. Like, I don't want to see teams running away and be up by 12 games in first place. We want to see teams constantly battling for first place.
They hit a team total. I love that. So as many times as we get bad beats, you do get the same amount of good beats, typically in your direction, if you wait long enough.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it.
You get rid of Durant, or do you do the crazy one? Because you're so far out of the West, do you get rid of Booker? Because D-Book will bring you far more in a return.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
11 times now without a major, 14 times at the Masters. He finally has the green jacket. Rory McIlroy.
The best sporting event so far this year. It's better than the Super Bowl. It was better than the NCAA tournament. It had ups and downs. It had roller coaster rides. It had history, legacies. It had everything you could ever possibly want.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome in. A very happy Friday to you now. Here we are, April the 25th, and I'm Joe Raineri on the SportsGrid Network. We do have some game time decisions to make as we get ready for a big night of playoff action here, certainly in the NBA and the top of the hour where Boston and Orlando, it'll be crunch time for the Orlando Magic down 2-0, but they are at home, and we've got a lot to navigate through as far as who might be playing or who might not be playing for the Boston Celtics. We also have a big night on the ice in the NHL here as teams also facing 2-0 deficits, trying to get back into the series, and they'll have an opportunity a little bit later, including top of the hour, the Montreal Canadiens at home taking on the Washington Capitals. Will have the Devils at home trying to bounce back in, down 2-0 to the Carolina Hurricanes. And, of course, you got the LA Kings up 2-0 on the Edmonton Oilers, although they are in Edmonton at Rogers Place tonight to see if Edmonton can get back into this series. You couple in a whole bunch of Major League Baseball games, and, oh, yeah, top of the hour. That's right. We have got round 2 of the NFL draft coming your way. Shedeur Sanders, of course, on the top of everybody's mind. Where will he go? Who will he go to? Does he even go in the second round? A lot of questions still to be answered. And a very special edition of In Game Live Draft Central is coming your way at the top of the hour. So over the next 57 minutes or so, we will get you everything you need to know on tonight's slate of games as we welcome in our good friend Tom Vecchio. No doubt ready to roll here when it comes to the playoffs, Tom. And we've got some interesting games here. And really, the Boston Celtics are – this has been head-scratching all day from this morning. We watched that, all right, Tatum was questionable with the wrist. Nobody really thought Tatum, they don't need Tatum to beat Orlando in this series. Let's be realistic here. However, I don't think anybody was expecting Jaylen Brown all of a sudden to be a questionable tag. Drew Holiday, questionable tag. So all of a sudden, half the starters of the Celtics today have been questionable in game time decisions. And we saw it from what, 5.5 that they were laying on the road. It was down as low as 3 today, but now we're starting to see it creep back up, as you just heard as well. Tatum has been upgraded to questionable. It sounds like 1, 2, if not all of these guys are going to be going, but it did offer you the opportunity to get a pretty good number on Boston today if you weren't buying into the hype.
Yeah, you were. Again, this is important about paying attention to live line movements, news as it is happening. I have to assume that at least 2 of the 3, if not all 3 of them, are going to play. I assume this is just a gamesmanship, some smoke screen that they're putting out there, like whatever you want to call it. Obviously, as we get into the middle portion of the series. But man, if you have the Celtics at a -3, that is a pretty great number to have. And considering the total is 200, like it almost doesn't matter. We always talk about, Joe, like a super heavy or super big spread and a super low total. Those things don't really correlate. But now you have a close spread, and the total, it doesn't matter. It could go over, it could go under. You're sitting pretty good if you have the Celtics. You know, I will say, if 1 or 2 of them don't play, Derek White has always been a player that has stepped up for the Celtics really throughout the entire season, or really over the past few years. Granted, a lot of it's a regular season sample size when we look at usage differential in the offense. He's always a player that can step up and drop 20 points. Again, take the regular season with a grain of salt. It's not the playoffs. And a lot of these games, specifically for this series, have been trending really, really low. But I do like some Derek White involvement if we see 1 or 2 of these players sit.
I could not believe, the overreaction to it was crazy. Now, no doubt Orlando, much different team at home than on the road.
Yeah.
They're going to have their work cut out for them one way or the other. But I'm currently seeing the board get lit up. I'm seeing totals hitting 200 now, 200.5, where we were in the 196 and a half range. This morning, I couldn't believe it. The Boston Celtics team total was 100 points. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, really? Even if they have an off night shooting 3, they're going to score 100 points here. To me, the big question is, can Orlando strike first? Can Orlando do what they've been doing and really play from in front? Because that's their best chance of winning here. They've got to be playing in front. They can't play catch up the entire game time if they're gonna have a legit shot at least getting one at home here tonight.
Right, and this is what we've talked about, for a week plus. You and I have discussed this series where Orlando essentially plays the same way as the Celtics, like super slow pace, great on defense. They just don't have the shooters that the Celtics have. They don't have the talent that the Celtics have. Paulo Banchero has been great, absolutely awesome. Franz Wagner, great, but outside of that, like, where is the scoring coming from? So in order to win this game, they A, have to do their own scoring, but B, they also have to limit the Celtics and that 3-point shooting that we know the Celtics can bring. So to win at home, they have to get out to an early lead, because this is not a team that can play from behind against good teams. They can do this in the regular season when they're playing Charlotte or Washington or some terrible team. But when they're playing a good team, they can't go pound for pound. They can't go punch for punch in a 3-shooting contest with the Celtics. That will never work.
Never going to work here. But again, that's a good sign if you're a Celtics backer tonight. That total creeping up means some of those guys are going to be playing that have been listed as questionable all day long. The middle game is also interesting here with Milwaukee taking on Indiana. It'll be Lillard's second game. I love this here, Tom, because this only happens during the playoffs. The game spread right now is Milwaukee laying 5.5. And you want to know what the first half line is? Milwaukee laying 5.5. So we've got a first half spread that is exactly what the full game spread is. And I get it. These teams down 2-0, you know, they usually come out swinging at home in game 3, but really? Is that what we're doing? Where is the defense coming from on either side in this game is what I want to know.
It's not. We talked about it last night where, 11-6 prior to last night's games, or 11-7, whatever it was, that games in the playoffs have gone to the under. Obviously, the Pacers Bucks is one of those exceptions on the other side. I want to believe in the under just because that's what I want to believe should be happening in the playoffs. But there's no shred of hope that these two teams are going to finish a game like the Celtics and the Magic, where it's like 100 to 95. Like, there's no hope that that's going to happen in this. We're seeing these teams get up to 35, 38 points in the first quarter. We know this totals will be flying over. So, role players at home, role players play better at home, making more threes at home, like all those narratives and cliches where everyone call, like, that's why I assume we're seeing the Bucks first half line at 5.5. Like, they got to come out strong. They got to get the scoring going because their defense has been terrible. I think you can look to a Pacers team total. And frankly, the game total is probably where it should be. I don't have an interest in betting 230. I will say, by any chance this game starts off slow and we get something in the low 220s, that's a pretty good number for where these teams have been, especially the first two games.
Well, it's, I think, imperative for Milwaukee to start fast because in both games 1 and 2, Tom, they have been playing from behind the entire stretch, and it's not working because Indiana is making you play them at their pace, at their speed, and they do that to everybody. So you're not going to lock them down. You better be able to score with them, Milwaukee. Otherwise, you get to the second half and you're down 10 points, and here we go again. So that's the second game. We got one more out west. We're going to talk about the Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Fascinating line movement in this one. Plus, we got plenty of NHL games to break down for you. Much more to get to as Game Time Decisions on this Friday continues on the Grid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Did you know sportsbooks tend to draw up tighter bet lines for events that get even more bettors, like championship games or major matchups? My tip, try betting on less popular sports. You might have a better shot at beating those odds. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri, joined again by Tom Vecchio as we are getting you ready for a loaded slate here on this Friday. 3 NBA playoff games continue. 3 NHL series continue here on the quest for a Stanley Cup. We've got Major League Baseball games coming up tonight. 2 have been postponed, by the way. The Boston Red Sox and the Cleveland Guardians game has been postponed. So has Baltimore and Detroit. That too has been postponed. No word. I'm going to guess this is all going to be possible doubleheaders coming up this weekend. But in the meantime, we got also the second round getting ready to begin in about T-minus 45 minutes or so. We will have you covered here on the SportsGrid Network as a very special edition of In-Game Live. Draft Central is coming up at the top of the hour. In the meantime, we got one late night NBA game coming up, 9:30 Eastern time tip between the Lakers and the Timberwolves, all knotted up at 1 apiece. It's been all Minnesota money so far, opened up at 2.5, and we are seeing 3.5 now. The total has also been bet up a little bit, 208s, even a 209 starting to show up here. What are we thinking here? Minnesota at home, another one of these teams, it appears a lot of people are betting early, first half with Minnesota. What are you thinking we're getting here?
I'm not going to be surprised if Minnesota wins the first half, covers the first half, first quarter, wherever it might be. But I'm still on the Lakers at +3, where I got it earlier today, a little bit ago. But I still think that there's room for Minnesota players to do well. And, looking back at game 2, 85 total points from the Minnesota team, right? 52 of those points came from Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards. 52 of the 85 came from those two players. Naz Reid and Dante DiVincenzo have to do something. I'm not saying they need to go out there and drop 20 points apiece, but you can't be going out there and scoring 9 and 4 points. Two players who've been solid bench players for them throughout really the entire season. So, I like Dante DiVincenzo over 9.5 points. It's sitting at -102. There's a little bit of juice on the under at -125, so I understand the logic of the game overall, but he can hit the 3. They need secondary scoring. Mike Conley's not bringing the scoring. Jaden McDaniel's not bringing the scoring. Rudy Gobert's on offensive center. Someone else has to do something.
They're going to have to do something. They usually, though, kudos to Minnesota. They've done a really good job of bouncing back after very poor performances offensively. They usually come back and they lay it on pretty good at home. And I do expect, listen, the Lakers are at a disadvantage. Certainly no big men there. They're not going to be able to compete. I think Naz Reid has a monster night. But I do think the Lakers also have to keep going with that small ball lineup, Tom. And that usually means quicker pace, more points, does it not?
It should. And, this is one of the interesting things that, I discussed with Kevin Walsh in terms of matchup wise, there's no real big center on the Lakers side to counter Rudy. But then if the Lakers do this thing with the small ball, that kind of neutralizes what Rudy Gobert would be good at. And then you just draw him out of the paint or you just draw him off the court. And then the Lakers actually have the advantage at that point. So small ball should indicate more scoring. Yeah.
I like the over in this matchup here. And keep an eye, Minnesota has yet to lose a second half spread against the Lakers this year. 6-0 in the second half in all of their games, including the 2 that they've already had in the postseason. So they are a much better second half team than they appear to be in the first half. So that bears keeping an eye on. Those are your 3 NBA games. We also, coming up top of the hour, we got to drop the puck in Montreal. Playoff hockey is back, and boy, is that city going to be all over the place tonight. What a home ice advantage they should have, taking on the Capitals here. A puck either way. Let's face it, this could be a 1-1 series. Instead, it's 2-0. What do we think tonight here? Can the Capitals withstand it and take a 3-0 lead?
I don't think so. I'm on the Habs money line at +100. I think it's a great spot. Like I said, it's a great environment. And they've played pretty darn well. They had barely been outshot. It was just a handful in either direction. It's not like they're completely losing the game like the Devils are, versus the Canes. The Canes have full control of that series. The Habs are actually pretty close. They clawed back in game 1. You go to overtime. Okay, it's playoff hockey. You lose in overtime. It happens. But again, one puck bounds in the opposite direction, as you alluded to, this series would be tied from game 1 on, and they would have taken care of business. So I do think they bounce back. I think they get the shots early and often. And, I want to say unders overall, and I think this is too much of a precise thing, but I think the first period over 1.5, but the game could still go under. I haven't locked that in, but just the environment that we get at the Bell Center, I think the scoring could come early, and then it really settles down.
I'm with you there. I think it could certainly happen quickly in that one. And if you're Montreal, you want that crowd in it sooner rather than later, right? So the sooner you can keep that crowd involved with a lead, I think the better it's going to be. I too think there's some value, some big time value there on Montreal tonight. And quite honestly, at plus money, as the home dog, I think it's worth a look-see. I'm not sure there's anything Jersey can do against Carolina. Are you in that camp, Tom?
Yeah, at this point, there's just too many injuries. They weren't playing with a full deck with no Jack Hughes. I would play the Canes on the puck line. I'm not going to have any plays in this game, just to be clear, but I would play them on the puck line. They'll have the lead, and then you just hope for the empty netter, or you just take them to win in regulation. I'm not laying minus 170, but they are by far the better team. They get this done in a minimum of 5 or maximum of 5 games, I should say.
Yeah, and it was funny. We looked at some of the future odds there coming out, and Carolina was one of the favorites in that conference because, I mean, let's face it, their path to the championship round is fairly easy. But let's face it, the Panthers are making it look fairly easy against the Tampa Bay Lightning too as well. So I think it's going to be interesting what happens the rest of the way. But you can't sleep on the Devils. They are at home. And we'll see what happens. It's not like we haven't seen Carolina kind of throw up all over themselves in years past here in certain spots. So we'll see what that happens. We do have Edmonton at LA. LA on the road, instant fade, right?
LA on the road fade. McDavid for a goal at plus 150.
There you go. Plenty more to get to, though, as Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
They're so close that we're barely going to be getting any value on the plus side of things. I think there's a little bit of value on the Blue Jays today, but it's an awesome division. Like, I don't want to see teams running away and be up by 12 games in first place. We want to see teams constantly battling for first place.
They hit a team total. I love that. So as many times as we get bad beats, you do get the same amount of good beats, typically in your direction, if you wait long enough.
Pro Baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it.
You get rid of Durant, or do you do the crazy one? Because you're so far out of the West, you get rid of Booker because D-Book will bring you far more in a return.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
11 times now without a major, 14 times at the Masters. He finally has the green jacket. Rory McIlroy.
The best sporting event so far this year. It's better than the Super Bowl. It was better than the NCAA tournament. It had ups and downs. It had roller coaster rides. It had history, legacies. It had everything you could ever possibly want.
Pharrell, coast to coast, only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. A very happy Friday to you as we've got a abbreviated Game Time Decisions tonight. Coming up top of the hour, a very special edition of In-Game Live Bracket Central, Draft Central rather, is coming your way as round 2 of the NFL Draft will take center stage. A lot of questions regarding who if anybody at this point is taking Shedeur Sanders. And my goodness, it's been a hot topic of conversation. There have been a lot of people thought that first round, maybe towards the middle, and Pittsburgh, of course, was enamored with him, and Pittsburgh was going to take him. But boy, that didn't happen there. So now the big question after the first round has come and gone is who's next? Where's he going to go? And with the Cleveland Browns being, I believe, 2 of the first 5 picks in the second round, there's a lot of questions around whether or not he's actually going to get drafted there. I mean, the reality is the Cleveland Browns, if they want Shedeur Sanders, can get him. They have all the assets and the ability to do so. But I don't believe they want him. And if I'm Shedeur Sanders, I don't want to be playing in the AFC North. I don't think he is a quarterback built to withstand the AFC North. I do not see him under any circumstances having success in Pittsburgh or Baltimore in January when it's 8 degrees and the wind is blowing 20, 25 miles per hour. I just don't see it. I don't think that's a great fit for him, not to mention that Stefanski could be on his way out. It feels like he's always on his way out there with Cleveland. So instead, we're hearing rumors of maybe Trayvon Henderson getting another running back for the Browns. The Browns need so much, but that trade with Jacksonville last night really afforded them the ability to start stockpiling. I'm not sure Shedeur Sanders makes any sense for them. I'm a big believer that Jalen Milroe would be a good fit for the Cleveland Browns. In fact, we're also hearing Jalen Milroe to the New Orleans Saints. Also a very good fit for him there, as Kellen Moore, the head coach of the New Orleans Saints, bit of a quarterback whisperer, at least that's what he thinks. But good offensive-minded head coach indoors. They're kind of in a rebuild situation in New Orleans as well. I think Shedeur could do worse than going to the New Orleans Saints if that's where he's going to go. I think the real question to me is, I think the reason that the Giants moved up and got Jackson Dart where they did, the team that they jumped to get him last night was the LA Rams. And I believe the Giants thought for sure the Rams were going quarterback in that spot, and Jackson Dart could have been gone. You don't forget, he started his college career in Southern Cal. And, you know, McVay is the quarterback whisperer. He's also got a 37-year-old Matt Stafford for a quarterback. So the Rams have got to figure out to do something here. They are, I think, top 10 or 12 coming up here in the second round. If he is still on the board by the time the Rams come around to pick, and maybe they can even move up, I would love that for Shedeur Sanders. He should love that. The ability to be able to go into that Rams organization, not have any pressure on starting over Matt Stafford. It could be absolutely a perfect fit there. But it's the Browns, ironically enough, that really are holding all the cards and whether or not they want to go and get a QB. And if they do, I certainly hope it's Jalen Milroe and not Shedeur Sanders for the Cleveland Browns. But still, plenty of great talent on available, in fact, here in rounds 2 or 3. And don't forget, these are the rounds where you build rosters and you build championship teams here. So there is a lot tonight that is going to be decided. Still a couple of big names available. Don't forget, you got national championship quarterback Will Howard is still on the board. Quinn Ewers out of Texas also on the board. So there is still some names. Luther Burden, the wide receiver out of Missouri. Will Johnson, the quarterback out of Michigan. Some big names still available that are going to be great draft picks if they get with the right team. So a lot to be decided. Again, coming up top of the hour, we have got you covered. A very special edition of In-Game Live. Draft Central is coming up. In the meantime, we'll talk some Major League Baseball next on Game Time Decisions.
They're so close that we're barely going to be getting any value on the plus side of things. I think there's a little bit of value on the Blue Jays today, but it's an awesome division. Like, I don't want to see teams running away and be up by 12 games in first place. We want to see teams constantly battling for first place.
They hit a team total. I love that. So as many times as we get bad beats, you do get the same amount of good beats, typically in your direction, if you wait long enough.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it.
You get rid of Durant, or do you do a crazy one because you're so far out of the West? Do you get rid of Booker because D-Book will bring you far more in a return?
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
11 times now without a major, 14 times at the Masters. He finally has the green jacket. Rory McIlroy.
The best sporting event so far this year. It's better than the Super Bowl. It was better than the NCAA tournament. It had ups and downs. It had roller coaster rides. It had history, legacies. It had everything you could ever possibly want.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. Certainly appreciate you stopping by on this Friday as we're getting ready for a whole lot going on tonight. A lot of Major League Baseball, couple of rainouts, postponements tonight. Baltimore and Detroit is going to have to figure out a way to get a couple of games in here this weekend. I know the Boston game also not going well here tonight, as the weather in that parts of the country not all that great. But plenty of other games happening here tonight as we welcome in our good friend George Kurtz here on a loaded Friday slate here. George, one game underway, by the way, 3-0 still. The Cubs on top of the Philadelphia Phillies. That game had, I think, an hour and a half rain delay as well, Kurtz, before it went off. But shocker, the Cubs can score runs and the Philadelphia Phillies can't right now. So they're in the bottom of the sixth. I didn't realize, looking at some of these numbers, how bad the power numbers are for the Phillies so far this year. I mean, outside of Schwarber and Harper, they don't have anybody. I think they have 21 total home runs on the year. Not great here for the Philadelphia Phillies thus far.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be one of the better teams in the National League, right? Maybe just right behind the Dodgers there, but they're not playing like it yet. I don't know if I'm going to panic yet about the Phillies. We've seen them do this before, slow starts, and they figure it out here. But I'll tell you, watching this game, as you mentioned, it was the only game on, started with a couple-hour rain delay here, is they're lucky it's only 3-0. The Cubs seemingly had the bases loaded every inning, but couldn't get that big hit, with the exception of one time here. The score should be much worse than 3-0 here. But right now, the Phillies are in a little bit of a slog here, right? Got swept by the Mets here, and now you play the Cubs this weekend, maybe catching them at the wrong time.
Yeah, it's not time to panic. They start slow every year, and then usually after the All-Star break is when we see them kick in. They kind of did it reverse last year. The Phillies were so good early on, and it kind of carried them there. The Yankee game, also interesting. What do you see? Is this game going to go off with Carrasco and Berrios, and are we going to get a ton of runs tonight? What's the plan with this game?
I think the game is going to be fine. I think the rain here in New York is mainly after midnight, so you should be good there. So I'm not worried about that. If I'm a Yankee fan, I'm worried about Carrasco. Listen, let's be honest here. Carrasco's only starting for the Yankees because they don't have anybody else. All right. They don't have a fifth starter. Hell, they may not have a fourth starter. All right, so Carrasco has to go. There's nobody in the minor leagues ready to replace him yet. They'll need to make an addition at some point. His last start against Tampa Bay was not good. I think the Yankees gave him a lead, and he still couldn't go past 4 innings. I think he gets hit hard tonight. The weather is turning here in the Northeast. It's getting warmer, which means the ball is going to travel further. Hitters are going to be more comfortable at the plate here. If Carrasco is not hitting corners with the off-speed stuff, he's going to get, and not only hit, he'll get destroyed. I think we're going to get some runs tonight. Barrios, I think the Yankees will hit him as well. I'm going Toronto and the over.
Yeah, I mean, I'm seeing 65 degrees, no chance of rain, double-digit winds from right field to left field. So Barrios has been known to, we could get some runs in this game early and often there. Kind of like that one a lot there. What do we do when you go down the board here with some of these games like the Mets and Washington? Also interesting, the Mets red hot here, but Senga on the mound against Irvin for Washington. What do we think here, Kurtz?
I mean, I guess you want to play negative Ned. You could be saying, oh, maybe the Mets will have a letdown if they're just sweeping the Phillies, a team that was supposed to be the best team in this division. So maybe they have a letdown against Washington. I don't see it. I mean, you watch these Mets. They're a fun team to watch. Okay, and this comes from a Yankee fan. They're a fun team to watch here. They're pitching so much better than I thought they would. So much better. But I thought Senga would be good, so he's back tonight. I mean, minus 186, that's more than I'm willing to do here. You can put him in a parlay, which is certainly an option here. I could take him on the run line. Yeah, but it's still, even on the run line, it's still minus 115. So I'm not thrilled about that here, but that's where I sort of lean here. I'll take the Mets on the run line here to win by more than a run here, minus 115. I kind of like the under. The Mets, as much as they're pitching better than I thought they would, they're not quite up to their par in hitting yet. So 9.5, that might be a play there. Take the under, but you are paying for it at minus 122.
You are definitely paying for it here. The Mets coming off of back-to-back sweeps, right? Philadelphia and St. Louis, but they're only 6-6 on the road so far this year. So we'll see if that changes and they can keep it rolling on the road tonight against the Nats. Another interesting game coming up tonight with Kansas City at home taking on Houston. And Kansas City had that doubleheader last night, Kurtz. They had to use a whole lot of relievers in both those games. Houston had the day off, and Houston is absolutely crushing the ball. They have really started to hit their stride offensively. I don't trust Lugo in this spot. I love the price to get the Astros on a Kansas City team that might not have anybody waiting to bail out Lugo if he gets in trouble here.
Yeah, that is an issue, right? They after a doubleheader, you expect the bullpen to be kind of toast there. I'm still a little surprised the numbers aren't reversed here. I mean, shouldn't Kansas City at home be? Houston's not a great team. They are playing better of late, but this is not a great team. They should be minus 180. They should be plus 100. Kansas City should be minus 118. I'm just surprised the numbers are what they are here. I do lean towards Houston for the reasons you're mentioning here. But Lugo, he hasn't been quite pitched up to what I thought he would this year. He hasn't been terrible, but hasn't quite pitched up to what I thought he would. Maybe tonight's the night. They need him to go long tonight. So there's extra pressure on him. I've left this one alone, all right? Like I said, if the numbers were reversed, I assumed they would be when I first looked at this. I was all prepared to take the Houston Astros here because I thought they'd be plus money or even like it is tonight. But making them minus 118, I'm not going for that.
The Pittsburgh, it's Paul Skeens night taking on the Dodgers. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad. I just don't know how either of these teams are scoring runs tonight. Yamamoto has been absolutely lights out. Skeens has had some issues, but a lot of it has to do with the fact that nobody gives him any run support. The total is 7, and I'm kind of shocked it's at 7 here. Kurtz, what are you thinking?
Doesn't it smell? Because we all think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I mean, it's not 6.5. They actually made it 6. I mean, the Dodgers haven't hit anybody, right? They're not hitting consistently at all. Ohtani hasn't hit since the birth of his daughter here. Mookie Betts has been quiet. Max Muncy couldn't hit a beach ball going on up there. I mean, I can't take the over. All right, so it's going to be the under. I think I'll be taking the Pittsburgh Pirates team total under as well here. I'm not laying minus 220, and I'm not taking the Dodgers on the run line because this could be a 2-1 game. 3-2 wouldn't shock me at all here. So I do select the under 7 here. I don't think we're going to get a lot of runs here, and I'll take Pittsburgh's team total under as well.
Seems like the strikeout props are probably, 6.5, 7.5. And I think they're all in play here tonight because I can see the Dodgers getting rung up, and I can absolutely see Yamamoto striking out a ton of Pittsburgh Pirates here tonight. No, 6.5, 7.5 is what I'm seeing here at plus money.
I got the same, and I don't mind either one. Don't mind either one.
Yeah.
I think you're reading it correctly. They're going to be some strikeouts tonight here. It wouldn't shock me if at the end of the night, including the relieving staff, we have 20 plus strikeouts between the two staffs.
Yeah. I expect a lot of swings and misses here tonight in that one. And then you got Atlanta and Arizona, which is interesting. Sale versus Gallen. Both guys have had a lot of success in years past. Slow starts this year, Kurtz. What are we looking at tonight in this one?
Why on earth are the Braves at Sale minus 130 favorites? He's been awful. Gallen may not be Gallen, but he's been better than Sale. Sale has just been awful. I understand. All right, you're going to bet against Sale, and I am betting against Sale. I'm going to go with Arizona plus 110. I can't pass that up. Sooner or later, Sale will figure it out. Maybe tonight's the night, and I'm going to eat it here. If that happens, fine, I'll eat it. But Sale's been so bad all season long. Give me the Arizona Diamondback. And that price, I just have no choice. I got to take the plus 110 of the Diamondbacks against Sale and Atlanta.
Well, I think if both pitchers have better outings, we ain't getting over 8 runs. So I don't mind the under in that spot either if Sale and Gallen can actually turn the quarter and do what we know they're capable of doing. George Kurtz, always a pleasure, my man. Plenty more games to talk about when Game Time Decisions continues on the grid.
They're so close that we're barely going to be getting any value on the plus side of things. I think there's a little bit of value on the Blue Jays today, but it's an awesome division. I don't want to see teams running away and be up by 12 games in first place. We want to see teams constantly battling for first place.
They hit a team total. I love that. So as many times as we get bad beats, you do get the same amount of good beats, typically in your direction, if you wait long enough.
Pro Baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it.
You get rid of Durant, or do you do the crazy one? Because you're so far out of the West, do you get rid of Booker? Because D-Book will bring you far more in a return.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
11 times now without a major, 14 times at the Masters. He finally has the green jacket. Rory McIlroy.
The best sporting event so far this year. It's better than Super Bowl. It was better than the NCAA tournament. It had ups and downs. It had roller coaster rides. It had history, legacies. It had everything you could ever possibly want.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in. Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network. I'm Joe Raineri. Keep in mind, we've got about 15 minutes until the start of the second round of the NFL Draft will take center stage. And, of course, we have got you covered, a very special edition of In-Game Live Draft Central coming up, as we will go over each and every pick with you guys along the way for the rest of the night, as we try to take a look at the rest of the slate of games here tonight. Certainly in the playoffs, we've got the NBA coming up. I do just want to mention what a great head fake, by the way, by the Boston Celtics, as I am now seeing Jason Tatum upgraded to playing tonight. Jaylen Brown upgraded to playing tonight. So we are starting to see 6 and 6.5s, and we're starting to see the total also jump up to 201.5. But it's the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs, which has got me interested. And let me bring back in Mr. Leaf Collector himself, George Kurtz here. George, never met a Leaf you didn't like, except the Toronto Maple Leafs. And yet they were able to get it done. Toronto does nothing good for their fans. Everything with that poor fan base is an absolute sweat. And that's the way, and that's just the way it is. I mean, that series could very easily be 2-1, except it's not. It's, now it's 3-0. Same thing I can say tonight with Montreal and Washington. Montreal, this could very well be a 1-1 series. Instead, they're fighting really for their playoff lives at home. Do we like Montreal at plus money to tie this thing up tonight?
I do. All right. This will be the first playoff game in Montreal in quite some time here. Really, I was going to say during the COVID years. Remember, we played in a bubble during COVID, so they didn't play at home then. So this is going to be a first time in a while. That atmosphere, I expect to be sick. And as you mentioned there, it's sort of unfair that it's 2-0. It really should be 1-1. And you're right about Ottawa, by the way. They won one of those overtime games as well here. It should be 1-2 there. So I think Montreal does get that home game bump tonight. I actually think they kind of might win it easy, Joe. It's not that I think they're that much better than Washington, but I think it's the game where they're all jazzed up. The fans are going crazy here. They're getting the calls. And I think they win this game something like 4-1, something like that here. So, yeah, I am on Montreal to win tonight here. When I say that, by the way, I'm not gutsy enough to, lay it on the puck line. I'm not going that direction here. But I think Montreal wins the game. So give me the Canadians to make it a series. All right? They'll win the game tonight. I'm not saying they're going to win the series. Don't even know if they'll win game 4 here. But I think they'll win tonight.
So it's so funny. I looked at the odds earlier today, George, and apparently Carolina is the new betting favorite to win the Cup, which I think is hilarious. But I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that look at their path to be able to get to the conference championship and then maybe actually play for it. Although I could make the argument that the Florida Panthers are looking at make it very easy as well. But can they muster up anything at home here tonight to at least make this a series and at least make Carolina sweat a little bit?
First, the team to beat right now is Florida. All right, that's the team to beat for the Cup. All right, and I think I told you yesterday, the rest of the NHL is like, you've got to be kidding me. All right, the Florida Panthers literally did turn the switch. Ding! Playoff time. Here we are. Yep. Frustrating. As I said, if you're Tampa Bay, you're Toronto, even the Western Conference, they can't be thrilled to see that either. Anyway, that's a talk for another time. Carolina, they got the best draw. All right, you're playing New Jersey Devils team that is beat to hell. All right, they didn't have their best player, Jack Hughes, right? He's gone. He had separated shoulder against the Vegas Golden Knights months ago. He's done for the season here. And they have so many injuries on defense, right? Luke Hughes has been banged up. Glass took friendly fire, so he missed time here. Listen, maybe they can get the home ice bump tonight, and they'll win the game here. Carolina's not a runaway train, but they do play. They're sort of Florida light. They play that playoff style hockey, bump and grind, bump and grind, bump and grind. They don't mind doing it. They like it. It's boring hockey, but they like doing it. They have the players to do it well, and it's how they have to play. They can't play run and gun, or else they will lose. They don't have the run and gunners to do that here, but they play their system to a perfect tee here. I still like the Canes tonight. I don't think this will be a sweep. I do think the Devils will win either tonight. I think they play Monday as game 4, so I think they'll win tonight or Monday. But it's funny. I think they'll win one, but I'm not going to pick them tonight. And if it's 3-0, I'm probably not going to pick them Monday either.
Well, I do feel, listen, they can't score. They couldn't really score 5-on-5 to begin with. They were a much better scoring team on the power play, even without Hughes. But how are we getting over to 6 goals here? We've had a couple of empty netters by Carolina, and still it stayed under. It feels like this is an under game as well, no?
I mean, you could see it being 4-2. If it's 3-2 and an empty net, that's 4-2. Listen, do I think it stays under? Yeah. My only issue would be if if New Jersey just gives up at one point. They're down 3-1, and then they're just playing, okay, everyone's going in. We'll see what happens here. And before you know it, it's 5-1. That sort of thing here. I do lean under, but I do not love it. Not in this the devil situation, but it's a series where I don't think any of the games are going to go over. And here's my other problem. I'm not willing to lay the minus 128 to bet on the under here. So, yes, if they wanted me to lay this under, they probably would have to make it a flat 6, and then I would have gone for it.
So you think an under with Edmonton and the Kings tonight as well, then?
I don't ever think under with the Edmonton Oilers. If I'm thinking under with the Edmonton Oilers, I'm not betting it. All right, because they just – I think the first 2 games, and they're going with Pickard tonight. All right, they're sitting Skinner. All right, you don't have a starting goaltender, and we knew this. We've known this for years with the Edmonton Oilers. It's so frustrating. All right, you keep thinking, okay, we get all these superstar offensive players, and we're going to pray that we can win with a backup goaltender, which is what you have here. No, I'll go the over again here. It's minus 110. That's all you give me to get 6.5. The Kings could score 5 by themselves. Hell, the Oilers could score 5 by themselves. It's not like Kemper's played great either here. I do think the Oilers probably win the game tonight, right? Once again, I had the series going 7 here, so the Oilers better start winning a game. I'm going the Oilers and the over. Leon Draisaitl anytime goal. Connor McDavid over 1.5.
It's the only way to go there, George. I'm with you here. I mean, I fully anticipate Edmonton showing up here tonight, and they can't. The Kings aren't going to be as good as they have been on the power play or penalty kill. They're a different team on the road than they are at home, and I think we can all accept that. But I do think home ice will prevail here for Edmonton tonight. We appreciate it as always, though, George. Enjoy your leaves. Enjoy the nights. Game Time Decisions. We'll wrap it up next here on the Grid.
They're so close that we're barely going to be getting any value on the plus side of things. I think there's a little bit of value on the Blue Jays today, but it's an awesome division. Like, I don't want to see teams running away and be up by 12 games in first place. We want to see teams constantly battling for first place.
They hit a team total. I love that. So as many times as we get bad beats, you do get the same amount of good beats, typically in your direction, if you wait long enough.
Pro Baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
If you're going to trade Durant, right, it means things are getting weird anyway. Teams are going to, before they go for Durant, they're going to go for Devin Booker. That's just the reality of it.
You get rid of Durant, or do you do the crazy one? Because you're so far out of the West, do you get rid of Booker? Because D-Book will bring you far more in a return.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
11 times now without a major, 14 times at the Masters. He finally has the green jacket. Rory McIlroy.
The best sporting event so far this year. It's better than the Super Bowl. It was better than the NCAA tournament. It had ups and downs. It had roller coaster rides. It had history, legacies. It had everything you could ever possibly want.
Pharrell, Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this one?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back in Game Time Decisions here on the SportsGrid Network as we look to wrap up this edition together as making room for the second round of the NFL Draft is about 10 minutes away. And, of course, we have a very special edition of In Game Live Draft Central coming up with Ben Stevens, Joe Lisi, and the crew. Mr. Kaplan and company will be on every pick. And really the big question on top of everyone's mind, and what's been the narrative is, where does Shedeur Sanders go? And I don't think we're going to have to wait very long to figure out if it is the Cleveland Browns. I mean, that is going to be what everybody, and I've seen the odds move that he's becoming a Cleveland Brown. It was this morning a much more foregone conclusion that is what was going to happen, but the odds are not working in that favor, and I agree. I do not think he is best suited for the Cleveland Browns. I am thinking the Browns have other needs. I think there are much better ways for them to be able to go, and I am hoping, fingers crossed, that Shedeur Sanders somehow, some way, can find his way to the LA Rams, and I think that would be a huge fit. I also think it's going to be very interesting because coming up, I mean, you've got the Browns at 33, you've got the Texans at 34, you've got Tennessee at 35, so we know the Texans and Tennessee aren't going to go with a quarterback. You got the Browns back at it at 36, and then you've got the Raiders at 37. The Patriots at 38, they don't need a quarterback. The Bears at 39, they don't need a quarterback. And coming in at number 40 will be the New Orleans Saints. So there's only really between the Browns, will the Raiders take them and have him sit behind Will Smith? Is that a good fit? Because, again, let's be reasonable here. The Raiders have a ton of other needs as well here. They need to start building up that offensive line. They also need to start building up the defensive side of the ball for the Raiders there, as Pete Carroll is the new head coach, and that brand of football requires that he gets some players on both sides of the ball. So I'm not convinced the Raiders go after Shedeur. So really it's either New Orleans at 40, the Jets are at 42. They would certainly wouldn't mind taking a shot with a quarterback. And then you've got, as you go down the list here, 45 is the Colts. The Colts are a team that, last I checked, they don't have a quarterback either. And then 46 is the Rams. So will one of the teams go up and get him if that's the case? Or will they just let it play out and see what happens? It does feel like the media is all figured out that the Browns are where he is going. I don't know. I am not convinced. But the good news is we don't have to wait very long, as they are going to be on the clock here in just a couple of minutes as round 2 of the NFL draft will kick into gear. Also, once again, if you're just joining us, Jason Tatum playing tonight for the Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown playing tonight for the Boston Celtics. In fact, we are seeing 5.5 and 6s. Now, that is what Boston is laying in Orlando. Now, just because they're playing doesn't mean they're going to win this game. Again, Orlando has been very, very tough at home. Much better team at home than they have been on the road. This is still going to be a defensive battle. Make no mistake about it. But if you were able to get the Celtics earlier today, you probably got a much better number than what you are seeing right now. And at 200.5, which is the total, what wins this game? And does Orlando have enough to be able to get to over 100 points? That'll tell you whether or not you think this game goes over or under. Mets underway against Washington. No score in the bottom of the first. Still 3-0 bottom of the 7th. The Cubs over Philly. Much more baseball coming up, but really, get ready. It's all about the NFL. NFL is king. The NFL draft front and center is round 2. Gets ready to kick off. And of course, we have got you covered. Get ready for a very special edition of In-Game Live Draft Central coming up. And again, Game Time Decisions will be back on Monday. But between now and then, we got plenty of NBA playoffs, NHL, Stanley Cup playoffs, and of course, ton of Major League Baseball. Enjoy the draft. Enjoy the coverage. We'll see you again Monday for another edition of Game Time Decisions. In-Game Live Draft Central next here on the Grid.